Hey everybody, it's Felicia Stitzel with Vintage Vine Marketing and welcome to today's wine video. Excuse my absence for the past couple weeks. I've been keeping my nose to the grinder with all the new updates that are coming into 2020 for both Facebook, social media marketing, ManyChat, and how they have their text message and email marketing that you can do with a multi-level platform marketing plan, and how all those things integrate and work together while still being compliant to the rules and regulations put out for social media marketers through Facebook and for just for an overall general platform. So apologize for my absence. Hope you guys haven't missed me too much. Today I wanted to talk about how to make an interactive experience for your customers. So I've actually just finished building this bot for a wine tour company. And so what happens is that before every tour, they send an information email. And they've been doing this for as long as the tour company has been around. Is they'll send out an information email to the participants, and when it has where you're meeting, what time, do's and don'ts, things, rules to follow, things like that. It's just very, obviously informative. Well, what I wanted to start doing was being able to have something embedded into that email that can create an interactive and personalized experience for each of their tours. So what we did was we actually built several bots, and they visit several different wineries. It's not just the same ones over and over again. So this got really complicated on the back end of building it. But when it's actually being implemented, it's incredible, because how many times have you gone wine tasting and by the time you're at the fourth winery, you don't remember what you bought or what you tasted at the first winery? Now, for those of us who are in the wine industry and drink professionally, we might be able to have a better understanding of what we were drinking, or we might remember it more. We might be a little bit more sober because our tolerance is higher, or we have one of these fancy wine journals for the tasting notes that we bring with us, knowing that as you get further into the wine, certain senses start getting depleted because your senses are getting shocked so much, so on and so forth. So I was working with this wine tour company, and we figured out how they can actually have an interpersonal experience for their customers during the tour, and then a way for them to follow up with their tour guests after the tour. So what we did was that we built out these little information cards for every single one of the wineries that they visit. And for several of them, like they have some that are similar, but they don't do that every month. So, you can kind of pick and choose which one, and then you can just have that code or that bot in a URL. And so what happens is that they meet Sherry Chardonnay. She is your virtual tour guide. Not only are they on the bus with the bus driver who is explaining things to them, who is giving them history and information about all the wineries they're going to directly, but in case they are talking to a friend or they're sitting in the back and they can't hear, they actually have on their phones Sherry Chardonnay, who is your virtual assistant throughout your tour guide, and she will tell you about the wine histories and where you're at and the wines that are grown there and how many wineries as you're driving out to the first winery. Because as soon as they click that URL, it sets off a timer, and the timer starts 40 minutes before the tour starts. So it's actually pretty cool how it all ends up working out. But it was a way for us to be able to, it told them about each winery that they went to 10 minutes before they got there. And obviously if you're running late or whatever, the time changes obviously, and you only can program so much. But the whole idea was that they got a little slice of the information about each winery before arriving or as they were there. They would go through their tasting with the tasting room attendant, who would be very one-on-one personalized, and tell them all about the wines as they're going through and tasting them. And then 5 minutes after they leave, they get a message from Sherry Chardonnay saying, what wine was your favorite? And now that actually creates a digital tasting book for them, because now they can go back and be like, oh, what was that one wine that I loved at that winery, like that we went to on the tour? Like, and so they can go back to that tour message, see all the wines that they loved during that tour at what winery they went to. So it was like they went to X, Y, and Z winery and they loved the Syrah. The next winery, they went to ABC winery and they loved the Chardonnay. Every single one for the 4 wineries that each tour goes on has one of these cards, these bots built for it. So it actually creates a really amazing multi-level, interdimensional, interactive, open conversation that you can have with your customers. So this one was really more complicated, and there's a lot simpler ways to do it, especially if you're doing it just for your winery and not for a slew of wineries. But I wanted to share how it's amazing that you can have a bot basically backing up what you're saying at the winery, but you're also enabling an open-ended conversation with your customers. Now you know, and they know what their favorite wine was at your winery. You can set a tag to that, and then you can remind them when that particular wine goes on sale or the new vintage comes out. You can send them a message saying, hey, we saw that you loved our Chardonnay. We're actually doing a barrel release tasting this weekend. We'd love to see you come. So you can do it for events, for releases, for new vintages, for sales, whatever. And now you have a way to actually send out broadcasts to your customers that they specifically like your Chardonnay or your Petit Verdot or your whatever. And then you can send them very specific messages that relate to very specific things about your winery. So if they're interested in your wine club membership, in wine sales, events, all of those things can go through and you can tag them, and then you can respond to them with that message saying, hey, we saw that you wanted to learn more about our events. Here's a list of all of our events coming up. And then you can have a buy now button and you can create ticket sales through a bot. So I know that was a really long video, and there's a lot of details to all that, so I apologize. But I just wanted to share, and with all of the new things that ManyChat has to offer, because you can send text messages, emails, messenger bots, Facebook notifications, all of these things. It created that one-stop platform that we've talked about in the past, but also it actually allows you to be able to communicate on every applicable platform that your customers have. So like if you have customers that can only enjoy getting emails, send out an email broadcast to them. If they respond better to text messages, send a text message. If they only, they're more of a younger generation with the new millennials that are coming up into the drinking world and you need to send a message to them, there you go. You have a way to do it on every applicable platform to communicate to your customers in a way that is designed for them. So that's my awesome wine video this week. I hope you guys have a great week and an enjoyable weekend as we're getting into the Christmas final countdowns. And I will be tuning in very soon.